Hello and welcome to Every Day with an Angel podcast live here. I am Natasha Venter and I am a multi-life intuitive. I am also a medium. I do feng shui. I do a lot of different work and I do spiritual counseling intuitively. And so I've been having a lot of wonderful sessions lately, which I've been so grateful for to help people. And they've been saying that I've been very helpful and I've been grateful for that. So welcome everyone. And this is Regan Forston. We used to do the Dance of the Soul together, and
Yeah,
now
three
he's got
years.
his journey and I've got mine, but we agreed to have this time together once a month. And it was a week later than normal, but yet he was doing something with Connie Willis. And you talk about what you want, or, because we both try to keep things private, when we're doing sessions and stuff like that. But I was on Coast to Coast with her, and that was hello, Veronica. And that was such a gift to be with her. And I hope that you had a good time with her. But
Yeah,
what it's a thing. So you were going to do a session with her, because you were on Coast to Coast also,
yeah,
Coast to Coast AM, and that's a very long term uh, Coast to Coast Live radio show that's on AM, FM. I on Northwest here is on Cairo, but it's one of those things
they're
that
on,
you can catch it. It's
yeah,
on many different platforms and radios. But yeah, so Regan, how are you? I have missed you so much.
yeah, I missed you too. Yeah, yeah, coast to coast that we were both on. It's like 600 stations, one time. They have millions of listeners. So, needless to say, it keeps. I've been really busy after that. But and what I did doing a session for Connie, she's just a fabulous interviewer, and she's been, doing radio and movies and things for 30, 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do through the Newton Institute and my visit the afterlife is I help assist people in visiting the afterlife for a couple hours. So, it's a life-changing event, and 70,000 people have done it, and everybody can do it practically. So, we've just uncovered this whole new way now, where, in a sense, uh, the afterlife is, the distance between here and the afterlife is getting very thin right now.
Oh, it's hugely getting thinner, and I even noticed the other week that time even stopped for a little bit.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
people had said that, there was planes that didn't move. There was, just things that happened that was like, wow, what happened? And, we're kind of going to this dimension shift. So,
very.
hi, Soba, how are you? Scott from UK. Hi, Scott, how are you?
Yeah,
And then, Soba, thank you for coming in. I know that your daughter, she's the one that had the surgery, and I know she went through a couple surgeries, and I've been thinking about you. I have not emailed you to see how things are. I just want you to know that I kept thinking about you and sending angels your way, or whoever could help you. And I actually do that all through the world here, but I was thinking of you specifically because I know that was a life altering moment for your family. So I just wanted to honor you that way. And Veronica, I always keep you in my prayers. And hi, Scott, it's like you're new here. And so thank you for coming. So today we were going to be talking about, we're in the middle of right now a lot of gatherings for families. And in the US here, it's about Thanksgiving. I know that Canada has theirs, Mexico has their, Europe, all the European countries have theirs, right?
yeah,
And so with that there's always something to be grateful for and thankful for. But when we get together, family, a lot of times old stories come up. And like I was talking to a coworker, and they were saying, yeah, I don't know why I did this, but I invited all my family and half my family doesn't get along.
yeah.
Ain't that the story of how we get together, right? And and so thank you everybody who's coming in. We're going to be talking about some stuff here, and remembering that whatever we talk about here, that it is our understanding, and our support to help you. So if there's something that is triggering to you, and the stories come in, remembering that this is just a perspective that we're hoping to help you in your journey, not to say that you know, you got to come up with your own understandings, and we want you to come to your better truths. So with so we're going to talk about thankfulness and gratefulness in the hard times, because I know for me that
Yeah.
really changes my world. That changed my world when I was in the middle of an argument with my husband, and it was I've had many during his years of drinking, that I was wondering if I could stay married to him. And here, having those conversations, now I'm 32 together and 34, together with him, but then 32 married. So, Regan, how have you been with doing your work and what you've been doing?
Well, I'm glad we're talking about thankfulness in the midst of when things are tough, because it's easy to be thankful when things are doing good. And you get excited, like, you you win the lottery at work, and you get a free pie or something, and you go, wow, this is great, or when things are going smooth, we're naturally grateful a lot of times. But people think, well, wait a minute, should I be thankful for the difficult times? Like, hey, I just lost my job, and you tell me I should be thankful, you know. What I found out in this work that I'm doing, we choose life lessons when we decide to incarnate and be born. We set up before us a lot of challenges.
Mhm.
We set up the people that we've chosen to be in our life. We don't always choose them because they're going to just be patting us on the back the whole time. A lot of times we pick people, and it seems like we each have a piece of, we call it divine sandpaper. It's kind of like this with each other. It's
Exactly.
fine, and that's the key to happiness, is like, to realize that the difficulties that you have, sometimes your hardest difficulties end up being your biggest teachers. And when you look back at some point, you go, wow, I wouldn't be so strong, today, if I hadn't gone through that difficult relationship that I had, that I learned. Um,
Mhm.
it takes a little time to get on board with that, but once people do, it's life changing for people. You know,
Oh, it is. It
it's
totally is.
life changing. Yeah. So, like Natasha, we've talked before. Like, the first thing you do when you have a roadblock in front of you or something very difficult, first thing you should ask yourself is, okay, by me having to break through this roadblock and go figure it out, what am I going to learn from it? That's going
Mhm.
to make me a better person.
Yeah. I've
Right?
said that many times over. What is this here to teach me? Even in the middle of, like I said, an argument or a conversation that's difficult, or something that is happening around me, it's like, what is this here to teach me? I'm witnessing something that's hard,
Yeah.
a car accident, even. What is this here to teach me? I almost got hit today. What was that here to teach me? And I'm grateful that I didn't get hit, so there's always something to be grateful for in the midst of a trouble.
Yeah. Well, on the other side, the guides, the I say the highly evolved souls on the other side that give you counseling. They say that one of the number one things that a person can do to advance spiritually is to be very grateful for everything. Or they'll say that the lack of gratefulness it stunts your growth, you know,
Mhm.
in that. And people say, well, what have I got to be thankful for? Well, I've found what's fun is to start with the little things. And they go, what do you mean little things? Well, do you have enough food to eat today? There's some people starving right now. You should be grateful. You have a roof over your head, uh, there's so many people that are on the streets, or people that don't have a house. So if you start making a grateful list, you'd be surprised. You can sometimes get up to a couple hundred things that are just little things
Exactly.
that we just take for granted in this world. But if you didn't have them, your life wouldn't be is so easy, you know.
Exactly. I know there's been times where I said, "I'm grateful for this counter to be between me and the other person." Right? Almost made you splurt out. It's that story of it doesn't have to be immense, but it's just because you cannot be in gratitude and in disheartenedness
Yeah,
at the same time. And when I mean disheartedness means that trouble, those stories, those oh my goshes, or the whatever they are, right? That how can we negotiate that world? And I know for me that when I was going through, the year where my mom was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease, I had a new baby, literally new baby, 3 weeks before the diagnosis. Had to sell homes, buy homes, all that. That if I didn't stand in gratitude, some days I would have been
yeah,
so sucked under, and I know that, that's how I got out of my depression after, when I because grief has a layer of depression in it, but when there's a layer when you're in grief that can be very depressioned, and the only way that I got out of that part of my grief was to have gratitude. I had gratitude for my little toes. I had gratefulness for my pinky that was just able to be that final thing to grab. I mean, if you notice that when you're holding on to a glass with only 3 fingers or just 2 fingers, it's harder, right? But if you hold on with them all and the little pinky,
I'm doing that right now.
yeah, it's that final thing to grab on to life, right? And so and that's the way the little toe is too, that if we didn't have that to balance us, what would that be? And there's so many times where people forget to be grateful for these little things. And and I even started this off with, being grateful for when we're in the middle of hard times, those arguments, right? Um, you know, it's that moment where sometimes I've been in an argument and I've witnessed it starting to be a path that I was gonna stop a pattern from happening, because there's always these circle things coming around, and I would say, "Okay, here it is. I'm grateful for this insight that I can stop this pattern. Babe, I'm gonna stop this conversation right now because I love you.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna walk away for a few minutes because I want us to come together to be better. So I'm
yeah,
gonna stop this conversation." And I was so grateful for that insight, right? Even though it was a struggle, even though it was a hard time, that it is. And so, but thank you for saying that she said that sent this right after I said that I was there for her, that, I know, you've given me great support. I'm so grateful. Yes, and I'm so grateful that I could be there with you, in that journey of where you're at, and, I'm here for anybody, who can be, and I know that sometimes I'm here more for some than others, but yet I can only be one person, so with that, but I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. You know, but that's the thing that I want people to know, that this world really has so much darkness in it right now.
oh boy,
There's so much darkness and so much pain. And I was in the grocery store buying up the last few minutes of stuff to for dinner tomorrow night, and it's only the 3 of us. I'm grateful for that there's at least 3 of us, but I was witnessing some gentlemen that, being intuitive, I don't tap into anybody who doesn't give me permission, but I got a sense that they were not gonna have anybody. They were in the chip aisle. They were in that, just kind of just getting things. And I live in a small town, and I can't assume by any means, but I can say though that, you know, what do we do when we're by ourselves? How do we find that hope, that grace when we're by ourselves? Do you have any ideas about that, Regan? Because you've spent some time alone in your car, homeless, in between this and that. And
that
how did you
happened.
find?
described that as home free because it was a choice of mine, to travel and to just, I was doing therapy for people in all over California. And so I'd be a few days in one city and then I go to another city and another city. And it was, I had my expenses down to less than $100 a month, except for food and gas. So I was able
Wow.
to do a lot of therapy, a lot of free therapy for people. And it was exciting. But that was like self-imposed. It felt like I was like a monk, choosing to be sequestered a lot,
Mhm.
a lot of time by myself. And now I'm lucky to have the opposite, where I have a lovely wife and my kids are all doing good. My 9 grandkids and 4 daughters, and they're going to be doing Thanksgiving in Sacramento altogether. I called 2 of them. I have 2 more to call. And then I'm with Pat. We're Patty's side of the family this Thanksgiving, so we
Mhm.
have 12 people coming. And luckily, everybody that's coming, everybody gets along. We all love each other. But I have clients a lot of times that have been talking to me lately about dreading Thanksgiving because of the fact that they know some of the people coming still have issues they've not worked out. Some of them for like 20 or 30 years, they've been at odds with each other, Um,
Oh.
and
And
so,
my heart my I almost said my heart goes to them. Oh, no, 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 I'm keeping my heart myself. My love goes to that struggle that people just don't wanna get out of. It's
yeah,
like, it's so hard to witness and so hard to negotiate. "You did this, you did that, and you that was 37 years ago that you did that to me, and oh
yeah.
my gosh."
And I'll tell you what that causes because when I have people on the other side and they have health issues, a lot of their health issues they have are caused by built up resentment or hatred that
Mhm,
they have towards someone that's in their family. And the guides over there will say, look, like, one of my clients who's about ready to have $500 million from a sale of his company. And he's miserable because he's got some health issues that he has. Well, he did a life between life session. We're on the other side. He's before the council, and they said you have these health issues you have right now because of the hatred for your father, and he's in trance and he's going, "Ugh, ugh," don't want to hear it, but because he could talk to the higher selves of you can talk to higher selves of people in this session. We searched out and found the higher self of his father, and he approached him very carefully, and he was not wanting to do it, but
mhm.
I coached him a little bit when he's in trance and said, look, this is the best time you're going to have because you're going to be talking to the higher self of your father, this spiritual self. So they had a great talk. And at the end, he decided, okay, I'm going to do my very best, Dad, to forgive you. And they did an energetic because he's seeing his dad as this ball of energy, so they blended energies a little bit. And I don't know how he's doing now. I have to check with him because it's been about 3 months and stuff. But see that this shows you, you could have $500 million in the bank, and if you're not happy, if you're not grateful for, uh, you know, like he said, look, I have all this money, but I don't care about that. I'd rather be healthy, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, um,
And that's the thing is that, we're getting together with people that sometimes there are things that have been done that are unforgivable.
yeah,
They are unforgivable. There are stories that we've done that are unforgivable. But the thing is, though, we can do things and be with people in spite of that sometimes.
yeah. So if you have people coming at Thanksgiving, there's a spiritual exercise that works really good you can do when you're around people that are difficult, for some reason, and you haven't quite figured out how to get past, or, even though you want to forgive them and you're kind of on that path, but you haven't yet, um, so that you don't fuse with them and you don't make things worse, because if you haven't forgiven them and you get in an argument with somebody, you're just throwing gasoline on the fire and you're going deeper down the rabbit hole. So, Ho'oponopono is a
Mhm.
great little spiritual exercise to do. Without going into great detail here, I'll just tell you the benefits of it. It's like inwardly, like if you're around someone that you don't like, what you're doing is you're just repeating 4 simple phrases, uh, just like a little mantra that you're doing inwardly.
Mhm.
So let's say I got an uncle in front of me that I can't stand, for some reason. So inwardly, as I'm around him, I'm saying inwardly, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Even if you want to shorten it to just, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Or I send unconditional love. If you do some sort
Mhm.
of a mantra or something that way, you will be surprised how you will not fuse with that person. Just
Exactly.
takes you out of that rabbit hole and keeps you neutral, you know.
Mhm.
And I had a client who had a husband that always, when he came to take the children for the weekend, because they're split up.
Mhm.
And so he gets them on the weekend, she gets them during the week for a while. And he always wants to start fights with her all the time, every time they come. And in front of the children, even. So it just makes it horrible. So she just practiced. She said, okay, 5 minutes before he comes, she's just saying, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. And sorry about my cough here. As he starts walking up, she's saying that. And as she's talking to him inwardly, she's saying that. And she says, it's a difference of night and day. He says, he'll say things, he'll smirk, or he'll try to start a fight. And inwardly, I'm saying, I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. I love you. Thank you. Please, I'm sorry. And she says, whatever he's saying goes right past her. And she doesn't grab onto it. She doesn't grab onto it and want to fight back or something. And,
Uh-huh.
and she says, it's funny because he just stops talking in a minute, because it's not what he's trying to goat me from is not going anywhere. And she says she feels so good, but that way that, she could be around him now and just do that. And, and be good. Ho'oponopono. I always want, it's spelled just like it sounds.
You should start Googling it and it pops right
Yeah.
up. I've done that before.
So
Just
H-O and then space OPON. It'll come up. There's a lot of videos on it teach you how to do it. And it's remarkable, but it works really, really good.
Yeah, and I know for me that, uh, you know, anything that I've been in the middle of a turmoil moment, and sometimes I just get breathe, 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 and, or, I'm asking for healing on this, I'm asking for healing on just something. I've noticed that if I keep my understandings busy and, um, I've even, like there was a day when I was around somebody and we hadn't been around somebody around each other for a while, and it was kind of like that merging of coming back together again, and there was a little bit of criticism that was going on towards me, and I just was like, yeah, I could have hit those potholes, or I could not have hit those potholes, but I didn't. And I just kind of went into this, okay,
Yeah.
okay. You know, and that's the thing is that there's things that happen around us that when and I didn't expect us to go into the kind of this how to persevere through negative times or harder times, but that is about being grateful though is that you know because of the fact that that criticism was a moment, and then I said, I'm so grateful we're together again.
Yeah.
Right after that, I'm so grateful, and I said that to me, and sometimes I said that, "Well, honey, I'm just," friend or whatever, whoever that is at the time, you know, um, I'm just grateful that we're here now, you
Yeah.
know, and finding that grateful moment can really support that shifts us going down their rabbit hole, and that's the thing is that people are gonna throw us into things that aren't our rabbit holes, you know? We're not holding the grudge for 37 years, right?
Yeah.
We're not the one that keeps going in the story, but they wanna create that pattern all the time, and how can we negotiate that by understanding that everybody has a thing, and
Yeah.
that's your thing. Honestly, I'm sorry, but that's your thing. I'm gonna go over here and do this, right? Um, And that's the thing, and so Veronica says, "I like that idea." You know, that, we're in the midst of life happening around us, and, everybody's gonna be on a different evolution. Everybody's gonna be on a different dimension. Everybody's gonna be on a different no life path, and what are we gonna do about it, right? What are we gonna really do about it when we're at one level and other people are at other levels? Sometimes we have to excuse ourselves into the other room and say, "Oh, I'm grateful for another room," you know?
Mhm.
But find something when you're around somebody who's a struggle and they're having a conversation. Find something to fill in the brain. Like you were saying, that ono when she was talking, and the words were just flying by without really having any attachment. They weren't coming in and getting filled in, right?
Yeah.
And that's the safety part of this, and, sometimes I just say, "Oh, I'm so grateful that that was better than I thought it was gonna be."
Yeah.
You know? "I'm so grateful that was better than I thought it was gonna be." Yeah, mhm, mhm, mhm,
Well,
mhm, right?
getting along with others is sometimes one of the hardest lessons we have. I mean, you think it would be really easy, and even so, that's why these little tricks of the mind, or whatever, like Ho'oponopono, or the shortened Christian version is just "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you," and that's good.
Mhm.
You know, or even if someone's Christian, even if you're just saying Jesus, 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 say by putting in your mind and saying something of a higher vibration, of something spiritual, it keeps you from going down the rabbit hole, as I say, that way.
Mhm.
And if you do go down the rabbit hole, you know a little bit, you know
Which
just
is human. We're all gonna do it. We're
right.
all gonna be pulled down.
Don't think all is lost. It's just it's do over time. You just pull yourself back out and start again.
Mhm.
You don't, because the thing you don't want to do is be too hard on yourself for blowing it. Um, like in that anger management course that I took in my 40s, uh, what I really liked about it is every time we would come in the session, we had some agreements that we would make. Like I agree, I agree if my partner says something about my behavior to a friend or something else like that, that it's okay. I have to allow that, because you have to allow your partner, whoever you're at, who you may have been abusive to or angry at, they can say anything they want to anybody, and you make that agreement, and you say, I agree to be, I agree not to abuse myself, by working more than I should, or whatever, that we abuse ourselves that way. And then the last thing was, if I break any of these agreements, I agree to remake them. That and that just made it doable then, because you realize, if otherwise you would screw up one time and you would just say, forget it, I can't do this. Instead, you just pick yourself back up,
Mhm,
and you move
exactly.
forward, and
There's been many times I've excused myself to another room, to the bathroom, or just outside for a minute. No, I do not smoke, but, to do it, and there's been many times where I've excused myself to the bathroom, and in the mirror, I'm sitting there going, "Okay, girl, you can do it." And I start having a conversation with myself, right?
yeah,
Because that's the only way that I can work through
yeah,
sometimes is having a conversation with myself. And we got it. We're gonna do this different, right? We're gonna
yeah,
come at this with a different intention. And that's the thing that people forget is that when you really take a moment and check in with intention, my intention is to make this situation better. Sometimes when we check in with that intention, then even if somebody is trying to pull us down a rabbit hole, they got us down there a little bit, right? They took our legs out from underneath us a little bit, right? We can say, okay, I want to make this better. So, how can I find those words to do better? I'm finding gratitude in that moment where I can do this, and doing, that thankfulness, and thank you for having this moment where I can just take a breath and get my footing back underneath me. And then, you know, that's where I always call in an angel too. I call in angel, please give me the words, please give me insights, please give me these knowings. Please, and I go outside of myself. So many of us try to go back to into ourselves, And sometimes I have to reach outside of me and ask for support. Even me who's got a lot of skills, right? Sometimes I have to say, "This is bigger than me.
Yeah.
This is bigger than me." And I'm so grateful that I realize that this is bigger than me. Please help me. Please help me. And it's amazing how I know I'm intuitive, so I trust the words that come to me. But it's amazing sometimes how those words that do come to me make things a little bit more graceful. Either
Yeah.
I come up with a boundary or I come up with just some words that kind of set somebody like, "Ah, I agree with you."
Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
one thing that you've taught me, Natasha, and from what I've learned from the other side now, it's really helped me in realizing we, in these 70,000 cases we've done, every single person, every single one has had a guide or an angel or someone that's there, that's there watching over you, and they hear, and so I've been lately when I need something or whatever, I'm in my car or something, and I'm running late or something, and or I'm looking for a parking spot, and I'll say, okay, whatever guide up there is going to help me find a good parking spot, and I speak out loud, and it feels good, because I know they're listening.
mhm,
It's not just something imaginary, and that way. So I think by even praying out loud sometimes, uh, I think when you pray inwardly, they feel the energy and they know the prayer. Still, they can tell, but there's something about doing it out loud that is good for me, and I think that way. And
mhm.
and it's been kind of fun lately, like if I've got problems with fixing the car, I'll say, okay, whoever can help me, whatever angels up there can help me to get the car fixed. And it's kind of fun. You start having this little game and things just flow smoother, you know.
They do,
You
don't they?
yeah, because they'll give you help. They, what the angels have told me on the other side, the guides, is that they're waiting for each person to kind of wake up to the fact that they have this help. In other words, they can't come down and shake us and say, "Hey, I'm here. Why don't you talk to me?" Part of spiritual growth is becoming aware that you have this help from the other side, and then once you do, and you begin asking for help, it's all there. I mean,
Mhm,
they're ready to shower you with that. The client I had this week was asking. She wanted to be more aware of the miracles that are happening around her, because they'll tell you from the other side that all these little things, they're sending us things, and because we're looking at the
I
world
know
like
we have blinders on.
it goes right by us all the time. And when people,
I
when,
don't see any miracles, right?
yeah,
As
it's
we're
not
covering our faces.
it's not for the lack of them sending us help or helping us. It's just that we're too blind to see, what they're doing. So, when you start becoming more spiritual, you start doing like meditation regularly, or waking up in the morning and declaring yourself as a vehicle for spirit, putting yourself in the right path. Then you're going like this during the day, instead of being in that closed minded thing.
And
Uh,
that's what I think that when, going back to this being grateful or thankful in moments is that that's when we start being more in sync with our spirituality. We're
yeah,
more in sync with the synchronicity of what the small little dances of miracles. And I call a a raindrop on the tip of a new grown leaf in the spring day as the sun glistens through it. It could be a miracle. It doesn't have to be this huge, I survived it, type of thing, or it could be simple little things that are these little synchronistic moments that are miracles.
yeah,
And like I was watching one of my little memes as I was going by, and they were saying, they're finally getting technology that they can see when the sperm and an egg meet to create a baby, that light happens. I've always said that that's been a miracle, that we're all miracles. We are all miracles, and we forget that we're miracles.
yeah.
And but that is something that I'm so grateful that I've realized that I'm a miracle. Do you know how much that's changed my world? People walk around me and they go, "Natasha, it's such a blessing to be with you," and it's not that it's ego for me. I'm like going, "Really? It is?" I'm so grateful. But it's me becoming aware that I am I have the possibility of being a miracle for me, which is a ripple effect for those around me,
Yeah.
right?
Here, a client yesterday that I had a really great session with, no, 2 days ago now, and uh, she was missing her mother that had passed on so much, and she said she didn't know what was going on, but she just felt that loss of her mom so much, and she just said, I wish I had something of yours, mom, that that I could feel your energy or something, because I feel like I'm not feeling your energy anymore, and I miss you so much. And so the next day she gets this nudge. She doesn't know where it came from, but just, oh, I should, clean out one of these drawers. So she's there missing her mom, clean out one of these drawers. And she has a picture. And in the back of, if she pulls this picture up, in the back of something, out fell this ring that her mom had given to her from her grandma 13 years ago, and she had lost. And oh my gosh, she said she just started crying. It was like
Now
that.
that's a miracle.
Sure. Right. And see, that's how these things happen. When you open your heart and you have this love, and in other words, become vulnerable, and like, God, oh, I miss you so much. I da da da. I've had just I could almost write a book about the miracles that have happened over 40 years with me, of the different things that have been like these, 5 million or 10 million to one odds, things happening, and you just know that's this help that you get.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I even consider the day that that my husband got pulled over by 2 police officers and got videotaped for the first time, was told to go into counseling. It was called being deferred instead of going to jail. So he deferred instead of
yep,
going to jail, which meant that he had to go to so many AA meetings and so many, counseling sessions and la da 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 da's that was a miracle. That was a miracle.
yeah,
That everything was so set up that that was a miracle, and I say I'm walking a miracle today because I'm walking a miracle, because I'm grateful that I have a man who's willing to walk forward and learn experiences to do better,
yeah,
and I'm so grateful for that. I am just so in awe of the moments that we have, that we can be, if we find gratitude. And I know for me that, through when my in my family, the 4 of us, there was 2 optimists and 2 pessimists.
good balance.
And, the optimists had no problems, we had problems in life, yes, but we didn't have the rabbit hole. It wasn't the up and down, going up and down, right? Well, the 2 pessimists would have a life that was, like, pretty, "Ooh, do 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 do," "What yo have you been on?" And, that's the thing is that I would ask my spouse, I said, "So, was there anything that you could be grateful for today?" "No." I said, "Oh, so coming home to me wasn't something to be grateful for? Oh, having dinner cooked for, oh, having a job, oh, having a car to drive in the car, oh, having, being able to get up in the morning. Oh, it's like sometimes I wake up and I just am in awe that my eyes opened up for me, you know?
Yeah,
And so with that, it's not to call anybody good or bad. It's not, but I'm using these experiences to stretch and pull to say that even I have times where I have to stretch. I have to stretch to find something to be grateful for. And I practiced enough to go to that first. To go to that first because it pulls me out of that negativeness, like I was saying, that you cannot be in gratitude and in sadness, in disheartedness at the same time. It doesn't, your mind can't do it both at the same time. It's one or the other, and
yeah,
gratitude usually wins over.
yeah. Oh, hey, I got an idea. Hang on a second. I'm going to see if I can pull Patty in for a second, and I want to have her tell you about what she has planned for a gratefulness exercise that we're going to be doing with everybody that comes tomorrow. She's right
Oh,
here. Let me
okay.
see.
Yeah.
Okay, so just keep going. I'll be right.
I will. Spur the moment here. Yeah, so when we're doing this though, is that, it does mean when we are in these hard times before going um, into this gratitude that you're gonna do some shadow work. You're gonna go into these negative thoughts. You're gonna go into the woe is me. We're gonna go into the oh no's and oh this, that's, and this and the others, right? Be willing to go to the dark place for just a second to witness it, to observe it. Because many times, if we do not do that, we do end up having the pressure cooker happen, right? And that's why so many people who finally get together with family, they struggle so much because they haven't had a voice to speak these things that they still are hurt with. And, this is where I'm asking for divine healing on this. When somebody is in so much pain and ache, I really ask for divine healing on this. And, there's no right or wrong, and it's not about changing somebody's belief system, but it's also about having boundaries. I'm so grateful that I have an understanding of how to have boundaries, right? It's one of those dances of this and that. And here.
She'll be here in a sec.
Oh, okay. Threw her off by wanting her to come on, huh?
Yeah, no, she's so it's just amazing. She's just creating this really love Thanksgiving, for people, and so she's came up with this a few things for people to do, and here she comes.
Okay.
So, oh, sorry.
Hi, Natasha.
Hi, sweetie. How are you doing? I miss you so much.
Good, you too.
And Patty, I want you back on actually because I want to talk about manifesting again, especially around the new year. So can you come back on again? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I would love it. I would love it. So we'll talk later. But Regan was talking about you having a thankful thing. And we're talking about being thankful in hard times.
Yeah.
Thankful in those struggles when we're with family. And how can we start turning that knob, turning that idea of who we are and the world around us. And if the kitchen, if everybody's having a hard time, how can we, I just got the image that I just say out loud, I'm so grateful we're together,
Yeah.
change the atmosphere. So you are going to be doing something for Thanksgiving with your
Yeah.
family.
We're having 18 people for Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is all about being grateful. But part of it too is like, you don't want to do a spiritual bypass. You want to like acknowledge that there are things you want to let go of also, like
Mhm.
pain, envy, lust, whatever it is.
Right.
So I have these bowls, and it just happened that
Oh,
I have a bowl that
there we
says
go.
grateful.
I love it.
That's the bowl you put the grateful in, but be right in front of that or next to it. The first bowl just says peace.
Uh-huh.
So and then there's like little paper, and you write it down, and then I have a sign that says gratitude station,
Uh-huh.
and it says let go of what no longer serves you and count your blessings. Write down what you are releasing in the peace bowl and what you are grateful for in the grateful bowl. We will burn what you want to let go of. So everything in the
Peace bowl.
we're literally going to burn and celebrate the rest. So right before dinner, we'll burn that stuff that you want to let go of, which is all the human emotions that we have, like
Oh.
envy,
Uh-huh.
jealousy, whatever it is, and then we'll have this peace bowl this grateful bowl on the table as we're talking. And then, generally like we have dinners with a group, a community, like at least once a month. And then in dessert and dinner, we have the talking stick. So really like I made this at one of my women's retreats.
I love it.
It looks like this. And I made it. Not that it's so pretty, but it's just a thing. So like when one has the talking stick, they know it's their turn to authentically share. And we've created a space where just a space and community where you can just feel free and not judged to whatever you want to say. So sometimes it's it's somebody's birthday that month and we want to acknowledge that person and we all say something about them. And in this case, we're going to talk about being grateful and just whatever's up. Like, I mean, let's not all say like my life is so good. Maybe you're in a lot of pain right now. Like just say whatever it is. And that's the talking stick is great because we know that it's, no side talking, no interrupting, just listen and thank them. And then when you're really clear that you're done, you pass it on.
You pass it
And
on.
that's what we're doing.
Okay, well, what a magical now, before you go, I'm gonna ask you a question because I heard somebody asking, what happens if you have a family that you can't do that with? But
Oh,
how can you find those moments of gratitude? And because sometimes we have to do the personal work. Not
yeah.
everybody around us can do that work. How can and that's that story. So before you leave, I want to get your perspective on that. And
I mean,
or
it's kind of like maybe each person, whoever asked the question, is the spiritual warrior in their family, and they could, for themselves, declare, "I want to tell everybody what I'm grateful for this year, or right this moment, because all we have is this moment. So here's what it is for me." And if we model whatever, someone's going to follow. Is anybody else grateful for anything? Which is like such a low. Of course, somebody's at that table is going to be grateful for something. Like it's
exactly,
really good.
exactly.
So then somebody else will share authentically, and however authentically the first one shares, they're setting the stage for the
I
next
would so
moment.
agree. I would so agree. I've actually done that where I've been the one that says, you know what, I'm just gonna stop this right now because this conversation is going nowhere. It's going south, and I just want to let everybody know that I'm so grateful for every single one of you.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of almost you can almost tell somebody held the breath, right?
Right. Like you can't argue with someone that doesn't want to argue, kind of thing. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't know what to say about that. How do you argue with that? You're grateful for me? Well, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you very much for popping in. I'm
Oh
so
my
grateful
God.
for you. So let's talk one time. So after around the new year, can we do this?
Yeah. Be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
We
So I
can
got the first set.
whatever.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so just so we'll talk. But
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Happy Thanksgiving to
Yeah, I
you,
love you
to your
so much.
family. Love you, and to everybody listening. Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So great.
That was great.
You're right. I'm going to the store.
Isn't that great?
I love.
Great energy.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I love you so much. Well, that was a fly-in.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
wonderful
we have
energy.
her sister and brother-in-law here right now. We picked them up at the airport yesterday, and then their son, who's living with us temporarily right now, will be here. My son, my 53-year-old son, I can't believe I have a son 53. Will be here, and it's going to be an interesting group. And Tony and Kim, my two
Mhm.
friends, will be here, so it'll be nice. It'll be a nice time. I think
Good. Oh,
for
good. Oh,
everybody.
good.
Um,
So we just were talking about, like I intuitively heard that somebody was saying, I can't, what happens if I can't do what she said? And
yeah,
the thing that I got is that, especially when we're with family, that being, in Thanksgiving or being in a moment where we're in celebration of some point, you can even have a bowl that's placed somewhere like on the counter. Nobody says anything, and you have a gratitude bowl,
yeah,
and you have a notepad, and people can just write it down, and you can have a little note saying, "Please write down your gratitudes. Nobody else will read them."
yeah. hmm Yeah, and that's I was at a I was with I'm trying to think if it was Hindu or Buddhist service one time, and one of the things they did in their service is they had pens and papers at everybody's seat, and people wrote down something that they wanted to let go of, something they're having issues with, and they would all take them up to the altar and put them in there, and at one point they would set them on fire,
Mhm.
so because all private and everything, but it was things like that, um, or ritual, just the physical act of doing something like that is very, very helpful. That person that you were picking up on that way too, even if they just got a piece of paper and they said, like, I'm having such a hard time forgiving this person, or, you know,
Mhm.
I, I know that I'm going to have some really bad feelings when this person shows up. And then they could write a sentence saying, I'm now willing to release that to the
Mhm.
best of my ability. even just writing that sentence and then folding it up and throwing it away or something, that puts you on the path of forgiveness. Just declaring that, even though you because sometimes, it's a process in the Bible. When someone came up to Jesus and said, "How many times do I have to forgive this person?" And Jesus said 70 times 70. So in other words, forgiveness is a process, but as long as you're on the path, you're going to be making improvements, that way.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I would,
and like I said too, that there is times where there are things in our life that are unforgivable, yet at the same time, we can move around them.
yeah,
We can move over them. We can move under them. We can move. I know I live with a man that has done things that are unforgivable, but that there's a part of him that's doing better, and that's the part that I'm moving forward with.
yeah,
And if he starts going down that rabbit hole of a dry drunk or something that doesn't really quite work, I have to have boundaries with it, but be grateful that I know now to do better, right?
yeah,
And so with that, but I can tell you though that I have witnessed that gratitude. I had a session with a client that she started saying I love you constantly to herself and finding gratitude. And she says, my world has changed immensely. It
yeah,
has changed. It's flipped over. I I was in depression. I'm not so much in depression anymore. I was in personal struggle. I'm not in personal struggle anymore. I was in grief. I'm in walkable grief, as I put the words to her,
yeah.
right?
You're saying
And
walkable grief. Yeah,
yeah, walkable grief. It's that part of your life that you can start getting your head out of the water when you get into walkable grief. You're still in it, you're still struggling with it, you're still in the emotions of it, but they don't overwhelm you as when you're first in it, right?
yeah,
And so with that, I just want people to know that there are moments where even in struggle, that there's hope,
yeah,
that there's hope. And we got to have hope during this time. Going back to that coworker who said that, I invited my whole family and half of them don't get along.
yeah,
You know, um, I'm praying for them. I'm praying for them that it turns out better than what they think it's going to be.
yeah,
And that's the difference is that I'm grateful for us to get together. And if you have that intention, the ono, that intention, a lot of times things turn out better than we thought it would. Right?
yeah,
Sometimes they turn out better than we think they do.
yeah. And just remember, forgiveness is again, it's a process. It doesn't just, you don't just flip a switch, you know,
Mm-mm.
although it may seem like that. Sometimes people, they're making inroads a little, a little, a little, a little, and then all of a sudden a bunch
Boom.
happens and they think and they feel like it happened instantly, like I just forgave the person, but it's really started back some time ago, generally, and then it happens.
Well,
Because
and that's the thing. And sorry for interrupting you here. That's the thing. I was watching a video, little memes that I was getting into, and they were saying that one is that there's many times where we're inward, and I think that's perspective or perspective and I already forgot the other word. So there's perspective and perception. Perception. So one of them is you're thinking inward, right? And a lot of times when we're hurt and things are unforgivable, we're inward. But when we flip it over and we see the world around us and we witness more around us, that's where we go outwardly. And that's when we know that, it's the situation is bigger than me. And I can see that it wasn't just the situation wasn't just at me, right? That there's things that happened, but there's a story with that person. There's a story with this other thing that, they were triggered before this. And then, and there's this example, like, somebody who forgives someone who murdered their family member and they're actually eating dinner with them, right? How do they get there? How do they get there? that they come from inward pain to outward witnessing. It doesn't mean that it's okay. It doesn't make it right. But I'm in gratitude that things have shifted enough that I can see an outwardly view. Right?
One thing that helps too, give some of my clients is if I'm with them, I'll do a guided, if they need to forgive somebody, I'll do a guided visualization. They're being a light state of hypnosis or just a light state of relaxation. And people listening, you can do this too, because it works really good. Is you just take a few deep breaths and just kind of calm yourself down. And then using your imagination, just the best you can, just picture yourself on this beautiful island, and it's got this beautiful beach, and you can just see the foliage, listen to the waves coming in, and just kind of sit there listening to the waves for a minute and relaxing. And then what you do is you close your eyes as you're listening to the waves, and you invite that person to come down the beach you'll see when you look to your right, far down as you can see that there they are. And you invite them to come up and have a conversation with you, someone that you have with, and just watch them as they're coming up. And the closer they get to you, they change into their better self. They change into their soul self, which is the self that's behind their dysfunction of who they really are. Okay. So as they walk up and then have them sit down on a blanket, you could maybe have a bowl of spiritual fruit and you give them some fruit, and they're taking it. And what it's doing is this spiritual fruit is giving you energy in your body and everything to relax and to calm and to forgive, and then just have a calm conversation with the person. And you can just say, look, I'm really pissed at you, and I feel this anger and I want to, but you know what, in this beautiful place like this, next time I see you, I want to see your soul self instead of your dysfunctional self. And I really hope, and I really want to walk this path of forgiveness for you. Even if you just do a little something or have a conversation, the other person you may find them talking, you might find them talking to you because you've actually altered your state of consciousness a bit. But if not, just shake their hand or something, give them some spiritual fruit to take with them so they can eat some as they're walking away from you. And just that little mentally doing that, it's setting yourself up, because if your mind can see you forgiving them and you can have this conversation, you are beginning to get well on the path towards forgiveness.
Exactly.
Good visualization is very healthy. To do.
It is. I know for me that doing some of my DNA work that I do, that is part of the journey, is wrapping somebody in a blanket of golden light.
There you go. That's another.
And then wrapping us in a blanket of golden light, and knowing that it's both of us have the golden light around us because we've both been human.
Yeah.
And going into that, it's just amazing where we've been in our stories and where we're going and the tools that it takes to get us there. And each time we go into a tool, gratitude, Ho'oponopono, wrap them in golden light, giving them magical fruit, just shifting something. It's amazing how that ripple effect can happen, because I know for me personally, witnessing this, that if I wasn't doing my spiritual work and doing it through the hard times and doing it through the good times, I would not have the marriage of 32 years.
Yeah.
Because the fact that there's been some times where, Patty was saying, that you have to be the spiritual warrior of that dinner or the spiritual warrior of a path, and being that spiritual warrior and stepping out and saying, stop. I love us enough to say stop. I care enough for this family to say stop. Let's do better. Let's do better. We're better than this. I know that each one of you cares for each other somewhere. Can we stop the yelling and care differently?
Yeah.
And being that spiritual warrior is not always easy. And sometimes somebody else will stomp off because they couldn't go there right at that minute. But You never know what ripple effect we can do by healing. And if we can leave anybody with this understanding that healing can happen if somebody's willing to start the process, and it starts with self.
Yeah.
It starts with self. And that's where gratitude can change the world.
Yeah. It's like forgiveness has to start with one of the parties. And how about it being you? You're going
Mhm.
to feel really good if you are the one that begins the process, of even if the other person isn't ready. At least, you started. Don't wait for the other person, you know.
Mhm.
So, and leaving people with a little bit of wisdom here that I've learned. Um, uh, One thing that can help you in the forgiving process, in the grief process, and all this, and they've 100% on the other side. When people ask the guides over there, what's the one thing I can do to improve my life, to feel the space being, to feel myself closer to the spiritual love of the other side. And 100% of the time they say, start a meditation process.
Mhm.
Practice. Insight Timer is called Insight Timer. It's a free app. There's hundreds of things you can do on there. It's one of the best meditation apps right now, and it's totally free. And it's there's even a page on there when you begin to meditate, and it'll show you how many people are meditating with you at that moment. And it's like sometimes it's 20, 30, 40,000 people, that at that moment, it makes you feel like you're part of a
Mhm.
community of people that really care about the planet. And with all the craziness going on right now, a lot of us feel helpless to do, like, what are we going to do with the Russians and the Ukraine and Hamas and Israel? There's a lot of craziness going on right now. And we feel, part of the thing is we feel helpless to do anything, but you
Mhm.
can do something. And what they told me from the other side was, too, even if you're just going around being kind during the day, be extra kind. That kindness energy is going towards this positive resolution of all the hatred and all the evil in the world. You
It
know,
does. It
so
really does.
it starts with us. We have to be kind. We have to be, the one. You know, all you can do is what you can do yourself. So just meditate. You can even imagine just love emanating from you to the battle situations, and letting go. That's what we need everybody to do.
Mhm. Being very mindful. And that's going back to intention, mindfulness, uh, sitting and breathing instead of getting in that rabbit hole of where life is. And, Sandy, thank you very much for being here. She says she
Yeah.
loves
Thank
this
you.
conversation. I'm so grateful for insights that are coming for people. And that's why I'm here. I'm doing Every Day with an Angel podcast in my minis, little podcasts, the 2-minute videos to support people in this journey, because it does start with us. I can tell you, witnessing me being in gratitude, the difference in the energy that's out there around me compared to me being in anger. Whew, right? So picture if more and more people stand in gratitude when they can in the middle of hardship, what that can shift.
Yeah.
Right? What can that shift? And, like you had talked about a friend who he on another show of ours talked about how he was, caught down in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
And he started making friends with the people who took him captive,
With this kid,
right?
yeah, I mean, it saved his life.
Exactly, but he started going into gratitude. He started going into breath. He started going into kindness and love, and it's amazing what you can manipulate in a positive way when we stand in gratitude in the hard times. I know for me, it has changed many, many scenarios in my world when I stood in gratitude. Conversations that were going south slowly stopped going down south. They started being more pivotal. So with that, if you just caught this show, please rewatch it if you need to, because this has been, and many shows that I have been very, I feel, life altering for some people, and I'm so grateful to be here. Regan, we're done our hour here.
Well, they can.
And you have family to go see. So,
Yeah,
Regan, how do people reach you, and how can they help you? Because
all my
you do
information.
amazing work.
Thank you. It's visittheafterlife.com. You can actually watch a video of a young lady spending a couple hours in the afterlife, and it's something anybody could do. I mean, 80% of the people, very first time, end up having this several hours, 2 or 3 hours on the other side, getting their questions answered, talking to people. I mean, it's just amazing. And I do regular therapy too. So I'm an energy. I do energy psychology, which really works with PTSD, fears, phobias, that sort of thing. Works quick and easy. So no sense, if you have some serious issues, you have some abuse, you've suffered some PTSD from something in your life, you don't have to suffer with it the rest of your life. There are new techniques now that get you back to a semblance of normalcy again. So I can help them there. Zoom is amazing. It works really good. I've been doing since the Coast to Coast show. I've been doing so many Zoom sessions, and I'm really enjoying them, Natasha.
I know, aren't they amazing?
Yeah. And what's good is people get a video and an audio of their session, so they can actually, because sometimes people have a session and it's so easy. They go, well, I think I just made that up or something. And I say, watch your video and you'll see how you're in trance when you see how your body is, the way you're talking. You can see how sometimes people's eyes go up and all I'm seeing is the whites of their eyes and they're completely aware, but they're in trance. I mean, it's amazing what can happen. So, and with you, Natasha, now it's still angelicclarifications.com, right?
Yes, it is. It
Screen there.
really is. And
Book a
right
session.
now, right now, with every session that is scheduled, I'm adding 15 minutes on to the end of it. And that until the end of August of 2024,
Oh, that's
to support people through these emotional times that we're going through. And I'm finding that there's a lot of people that are struggling with anger, shame, guilt, pain. Anger is huge right now. And right now we have a lot of planets in fire. So it should be a little interesting. Hopefully this conversation, and, I'm asking for healing on this around the world, that we can all kind of find a way to not necessarily get along, but be able to be in the same room. We don't necessarily have to get along, but hopefully we can be in the same room,
yeah.
and
You don't have to like everybody in a sense, but you have to love everybody.
or be kind. Yeah, be kind. Yeah, be friend. You don't have to be friends, but you can be friendly. It's that story. So I'm hoping again that remembering that these are understandings that Regan and I have. Please come up with your own truths. Whatever you can do, because it is about your own story, and how to make yourself better. And that's the whole journey of this world. Is our souls are here to learn. Our souls are here to wake up and to negotiate what's going on. So with that the more we can do that, the more that the spark, can be the spark for many. And so be your warriorship sometimes, and stir the pot. Make things accountable. Make people accountable for what they're saying. Maybe they won't like you, but they'll be grateful for you, because you may have stopped a major blow up that's going to last another 5 years in the family, right? So again, thank you for being here, Regan. I am so grateful. I am back again Wednesdays at 4:00 Pacific time on Facebook and YouTube. Please like and share. If you know somebody who can use this video, please share it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm really hoping to support people on this journey of life, and I do private sessions also. You can go to my website, angelicclarifications.com. So Regan, thank you.
I'll see you the third week on Wednesday, the third Wednesday of December.
So that would be the 20th. So that's right before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. I have I really have a session on the 9th. I'll be in LA doing sessions for Life Between Life sessions for 8 days, and then I'm back by the 19th, where I have someone that's flying in from Louisiana, and it's you might be able to help her too, but she lost a 7-week-old baby.
Oh,
you know,
no.
she's just beside herself. So
I
I'm
bet. I bet. Oh,
really
that's
looking forward to helping her.
wow. Yeah, that one's an ouch.
That's a tough one when it's a little baby, that way.
Mhm.
So anyway, so we'll see you all at another time next month, and be sure and tune in for Natasha every Wednesday at 4.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate it. Happy blessings to all who are needing or wanting or asking for blessings, and may prayers and love be with you through your journey. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful for everyone who watches, and please practice gratitude. It can change your world.
Yeah.
See you on the videos and live next Wednesday. Bye now.
See you later.